From the local station, the 10 o'clock news starts now.
Right now on the 10 o'clock news, tracking Tropical Storm Isaias. Florida is out of the cone for our area, but Isaias still expected to be a strong tropical storm as it passes the coast.
This is a live look at downtown Fernandina. You can see the flag moving there and the wind. We're still in store for some heavy rains and gusty winds overnight and into Monday morning. Check out this new video from inside the tropical storm from the hurricane hunters. You can see the dropping of equipment that analyzes the conditions of the storm. Good evening. Isaias continues its slow crawl up the coast.
Right now, the tropical storm is just southeast of St. Johns County. It's bringing periods of heavy rain to the area. This is video that our Weather Authority Chief Meteorologist John Gahn took out at the beaches earlier today. It shows some of those first rain bands from Isaias hitting our area.
And it's just as quickly moving in, and the rain moved out. So our team of reporters are up and down the coastline, closely monitoring conditions. But first, we want to get to John Gahn, who's been tracking Isaias. John, what can we expect to see tonight?
Well, once again, Isaias is continuing to pulse. And I know what folks have been doing. You've been watching us, looking at the Weather Authority app, checking the satellite loop, and you see this thing. It's pulsing and looks like it's getting bigger and bigger. But the reality of it is, ExactTrack 4D is going to tell a different story. I'm going to show you that in just a second. 8 o'clock advisory, 70-mile-an-hour winds. Pressure is starting to creep down a little bit. Sometimes a diurnal effect in the evening hours. You see a little bit of pressure fall, and then it bounces back. But nonetheless, this thing is at steady state. It's just hanging in there at this point, and that's good news for us because it will continue to parallel the coast. So about 2 in the morning, it'll be just east of around the Cape there, and then heading on off towards the north, it'll be just east of St. Augustine. This will take place during the afternoon hours tomorrow as it races all the way out there towards the Carolinas and out of here. Now, for us here locally, like I said, we've been using ExactTrack 4D to sniff out whether or not this thing has been intensifying because it does pulse and it does look pretty ominous there on the satellite at times. But when we look at the 4 dimensions here, and the 4th dimension is time, and by the way, when we look at the details here, we can see a new rain band beginning to roll off the storm, and it's coming on shore. These little white dots represent downpours, and there's quite a bit heading towards the Jacksonville area. But when we look at the details of the storm structure, and we can do this with the 4D that we have, ExactTrack 4D being what it is, what we can see here is there are extreme thunderstorms here, but then they fan out in terms of those cloud covers. So that orange and red you see on the satellite, well, that's pressing back out here to the west, but there's no rain underneath it. So this is, again, an indication this storm is not intensifying, it just looks a little bit more impressive on the satellite. These are the rain showers we'll be talking about here in just a few minutes. They're going into St. Johns County. I'll have much more of that in just a second, but I do want to illustrate some things that you need to know, and that is that this explosive convection is due to ongoing wind shear, which is good news because it'll keep it basically unchanged, but it may strengthen as it gets past us here tomorrow. Something for the Carolinas to worry about. We're going to get those rains in here, Janice. Not just in the next hour, it's going to come that quickly, but overnight tonight, I'll have more coming up.
All right, thank you, John. And again, the next advisory comes out in less than an hour. The Weather Authority is closely monitoring all updates from the National Hurricane Center, and we will bring you all the details from the newest advisory at the beginning of the 11 p.m. newscast. And there are several cancellations and closures you need to know about before you go to bed tonight.
All activities for Duval County students have been canceled for tomorrow. This includes summer camps as well as any sports practices. School meals have also been canceled as a precaution. In Camden County, the first day of school has been delayed until Tuesday due to the tropical storm. But teachers will report to work tomorrow, but it's going to be an additional day of pre-planning. The county is under a local state of emergency order, and because of that, all government offices and courts will be closed. Also, advanced in-person voting in Camden has been postponed.
And St. Johns County erosion and storm surge are still a concern as Tropical Storm Isaias churns slowly up the coast. News4JAX reporter Marilyn Parker joins us live from Volano Beach. Marilyn, what are you seeing there?
Well, actually, we just wrapped up about 25 to 35-minute downpour of rain, making it very, very hard to see out here. In St. Johns County, Emergency Management says they're prepared for 1 to 2 feet of storm surge and up to 4 inches of rain as Tropical Storm Isaias moves further off of the coast. I spoke with a few people who say they're happy to see this storm shifting back out to sea. Gus George says maintaining his lawn in this low-lying, flood-prone neighborhood in Villano Beach can be a challenge.
Yeah, the grass is doing great right now, but when the salt water comes in, which it does sometimes off the ocean and down the street to the intercoastal, it kills the grass.
Flooding and merging water happens often in this part of St. Johns County.
Especially the street, you know, and the ditches, everything just fills up.
Tropical Storm Isaias has pulled further off the coast, but the county EMA is still actively monitoring the storm. The Emergency Operations Center will remain open through tonight for emergency responses, and Public Works and other departments are monitoring the storm and are prepared for recovery efforts.
We considered it a smaller one. It wasn't really a threat to us. We kind of didn't really get really worried about this one.
George says living here, he's seen far worse.
When you look out the windows, it's like you're in a boat on the ocean. Very much so, yeah. You don't see much land at all.
And a few things for St. Johns County residents to keep in mind. All garbage, yard debris, and recycling collection is on schedule. County operations will be open for regular business hours. All judicial court functions, except first appearances, have been canceled for Monday. We're live tonight in St. Johns County. Marilyn Parker, Channel 4, the local station.
Thank you, Marilyn. The greatest impact along Northeast Florida's coastline will be around sunrise tomorrow, but we're seeing some effects of Isaias now. News4JAX reporter Maggie Lorenz is live along Jacksonville's beaches. Maggie?
Yeah, we sure are, Scott. The wind has really picked up in just the last couple of hours. We were working in the news van for about an hour. I stepped outside for the first time, and like I said, about an hour, and I said to myself, wow, I didn't realize how windy it was by the time we got inside. That's how much it's really picked up since we got here this evening, and that is having an impact on the surf behind us. The waves are just getting bigger. It's been very choppy and rough all day, but we can tell that they're just crashing more into the shore here. So that's why we're continuing to keep an eye on those dangerous and deadly rip currents that lifeguards have been warning about all weekend. But the good news is we did check in with some Jacks Beach lifeguards today, and they told us that they made 0 water rescues today, saying that they believe people were listening to the warnings from the previous day on Saturday and that they tried to stay on the sand and waist deep as much as possible.
We ain't too much worried. We're just going to sit out here, enjoy our little vacation for a little bit longer, and head back home.
Vacationers and locals alike breathing a sigh of relief that Isaias is staying further away from Jacksonville. But this storm still has some potentially deadly impacts.
I mean, if you're on the right side of the pier and you were to just paddle out right there, you'd probably get pulled right through.
These two experienced surfers say the currents can drag you under in a second if you're not careful. All weekend, red flags have flown over Jacksonville's beaches, warning swimmers of high surf and dangerous rip currents.
It's pretty challenging to just hold your grip even in the sand.
On Saturday, Jacks Beach lifeguards had to pull 5 people from the water. Sunday was much calmer for crews, who say the sand was much less crowded and people seem to be staying a safe distance out in the water. The first rain band from Isaias could be seen here in Jacks Beach around 1 o'clock this afternoon. At that time, surf was around 3 to 5 feet high and it was low tide, so the beach was very wide, but that is not going to be the case tomorrow morning. High tide tomorrow is at 8 o'clock in the morning, and our News4JAX weather team says to expect some overflow because tides are going to be about 1 to 2 feet higher than normal. We're live in Jacks Beach tonight. I'm Maggie Lorenz, Channel 4, the local station.
Thank you, Maggie. And let's take a live look at our Skycam in Stuart, Florida. You can see that there where those waves are looking pretty good.
Yeah, John Gahn will have more on Isaias's track in just a few moments. Stay with us.
ExactTrack 4D constantly scans for new threats in your neighborhood, alerting you faster than ever when severe storms are heading your way.
All right, if you're just joining us, again, the big hit here at 10 o'clock is the fact that thunderstorms continue to explosively develop right near the center of the tropical storm. But as we look at the insides of the storm using ExactTrack 4D, we find that it's still as unorganized and very dry as it has been throughout the last couple of days, meaning it hasn't intensified despite the signature or the look that we're seeing there on the satellite picture. Here's how it looks. And again, this is using satellite technology. So this is just as we're out in space looking down, and you can see the development of that very large central dense overcast. We call it the CDO, central dense overcast, and within that, the rains tend to come down very hard, and it's also basically the core driver for hurricanes as well as tropical storms. And this one's right on the verge of becoming a hurricane again. Note the winds here at 8 o'clock, 70 miles an hour. Now, I haven't seen anything new from the hurricane hunters to suggest it's gotten more intense, but that's where we stood earlier. So here's another look at this, and this time we're looking at it ExactTrack 4D. And I wanted you to see this because, like I was mentioning at the top of the newscast, using this technology, we can sniff out some of the things that gives us the indications that something is right or wrong going on. Well, I'm going to tell you something good for us is taking place, because despite this large, massive cloudiness here, and oh, by the way, see these little lines here of white? These are representing some of the downpours that, well, they've gone through St. Johns County, about to hit Jack's Beach here in a few moments. But let's just focus on what I was talking about, and that's this central dense overcast right in through here. And as we zoom into it a little bit, and then we take a look at this three-dimensionally, what you're going to see here is the structure of the storm. And what we see in the structure of the storm is that on this western side, this is that part that we saw in that deep red on the satellite loop a little while ago, an indication that it was very, very strong. Well, what we're finding here at this point in time, this is very dry air that it's working its way into. So the storms, this is all rain coming down here, and the storms are popping up right near the center. See this little vertical motion here and the lightning strikes? Well, that's the center of the storm, but these clouds are drifting on off, and as they drift on off, they are not producing any rain. So there's really no rain coming down along the coast down to the south of us. But as we look closer to Jacksonville and go back up the coast, we can see these lines of showers that are continually to come on in, and that's what's taking place right now out there towards St. Augustine. There's Palm Valley. This is a wall of showers and thunder showers just off the coast right now, and these are the ones that are going to give everybody their second splash, if you will, and that's going to take place here pretty quickly. As again, you can see some of the rains just off the coast. These will continue to move off towards the beaches. And I think they're going to get there pretty quickly, probably within the next hour. Just about everyone along the beaches will pick up some of these showers here as they continue to rotate. Again, this is the rotation around that low pressure. And so places like Palm Valley all the way out there towards Green Cove Springs will be picking up these rains here very, very quickly if you haven't already started to pick up on some of the downpours there. All right, just again, talking about the fact that this thing continues to pulsate. It's undergoing wind shear, has not strengthened despite the look on the satellite picture. As I said, ExactTrack 4D really showing things are looking okay. And we're looking for the rains right now. We just don't see them across the area, but Fernandina Beach, Green Cove Springs, you're going to see the rains here very, very shortly. 81 degrees currently at the airport. Watch tomorrow. Here's the sky condition. Look at the rains come rolling on in real quickly, and then they settle down. The sun comes out for a little bit. Oh, wait, here comes another round of rain, and then the sun comes out, and then another round of rain, and that's the kind of conditions you're going to see tomorrow. Very rapid changes, sun, showers, and so make sure you keep the umbrella nearby. This is 4 in the morning, another big band of rain coming on through, and then again, you see the rains along the coast. It's 7 a.m. tomorrow. There he goes up the East Coast and away from us by the time we get to about the 1, 2 o'clock hour tomorrow. So things will improve in the afternoon. 92, 94, 96, the heat is back. We do dry out. Janice, it's a big deal for tomorrow morning in particular, but it does settle down into a pretty summer-like pattern from there.
Thank you so much, Ron. Isaias is strengthening in the warm waters of the Atlantic. The slow-moving storm is crawling off the east coast of Florida with sustained winds of 70 miles per hour.
Nadia Romero is live in Daytona Beach tonight as bands from Isaias's come ashore. Nadia?
Well, Scott and Janice, I feel like your meteorologist just read the playbook of my last couple of days when he just said the off and on rain showers. That's what we've been seeing all along the coast of Florida. Take a look behind me. Things are definitely intensifying here at Daytona Beach. The waves are definitely getting much more violent at this hour. Earlier today, we had a lot of tourists just littered out there on the beach enjoying themselves, but now the waves have taken over and we are experiencing strong winds right now. But it's the Carolinas who are most concerned with heavy rains that could lead to potential flooding.
The entire East Coast in the path of Isaias. It potentially brings relentless rain, wicked wind, and strong storm surge. The storm drenching parts of the Sunshine State.
I had to pull this umbrella out of the mothballs.
I didn't think that it can change very suddenly. I mean, in just a few seconds.
High winds whipping up waves.
This is one heck of an experience. But yeah, it's pretty windy down here. The waves are pretty amazing.
Already, Isaias knocked out power to tens of thousands of people. Crews from 20 states working overtime to restore service. Floridians aren't strangers to strong storms.
I've lived here since '86. This is nothing. You know, it's just going to blow right through, get a little wind, little rain, and we'll be fine tomorrow.
Instead of panicking, they're preparing. Filling sandbags, gas tanks, and grocery carts.
You get ready, enough water, enough canned food, and hope for the best.
Others evacuated to shelters adhering to COVID-safe guidelines.
Just want to make sure we can stay as safe as possible. Certainly is a double threat.
For some, watching the weather is a welcome distraction in the midst of the pandemic.
In a weird way, it's almost a sense of relief because it's somewhat normal for people who live in South Florida to have to pay attention to it.
The storm could threaten lives and destroy property as it moves up the eastern seaboard.
We're bracing for whatever comes. We want to be ready for whatever. So that's what we're focused on right now.
All right, so just 2 years ago, 2018, Hurricane Florence was just a Category 1 storm, not much stronger than Isaias right now, and it just sat over the Carolinas, drenching it. So that concern for flooding is very real. Back then, more than 40 people died in the Carolinas from those floodwaters. That's why North Carolina's governor called up 150 National Guard members to help with sandbagging and potential water rescues. Live from Daytona Beach, I'm Nadia Romero. Scott and Janice, back to you.
Thank you, Nadia. It's Sunday night, and that means it's almost time for the Sunday Sports Zone.
Cole Pepper is standing by with a look at what's coming up at 10:30. Hey, Cole.
Hello there. Janice, as we told you earlier, Gardner Minshew was placed on the team's reserve COVID-19 list today. That's just one piece of what the team is dealing with in camp. Coming up on the Sunday Sports Zone, we take a closer look at how the first days of training camp are being handled amid the pandemic. Now that the SEC and ACC have set their scheduling parameters, what will the rest of college football look like? And decision makers are weighing 3 plans for fall sports in Florida. We'll take a closer look. All that plus a historic win on the golf course for a Ponte Vedra Beach resident. That's all coming up on the Sunday Sports Zone in less than 15 minutes. For now, News4JAX continues right after the break.